I think this layout's really cool. If I was in the market for TKL right this instant, I think this would be a pretty no-brainer purchase. I like the way it sounds. Diversity TKL time. The Diversity TKL is a very hyped up TKL for good reason. I was actually taking a closer look at some of the color schemes this morning because I had only looked at like 2 or 3 prior to today. Their orange color on the Diversity is so freaking nice, dude. Diversity TKL is gonna run for about $340. Give or take, and then plus shipping. It's also going to come with 2 PCBs, so it'll have a solder and a hot swap PCB. I think then some of the layouts also have 2 solder PCBs. Just read the description because there are certain ones that come with certain PCBs, but either way you still get 2 PCBs. There's some different layouts and they're kind of nods to older keyboards. So they have the 2100 WKL, the 9009 WinKey, 9009 win keyless, and the MK06, which I'll show you guys all of them. We got this color, gray. So they have all these colors, which orange is so hot, by the way. Nixie's really cool too. Orange is so hot. We got 9009 win key, which is sort of the standard looking one if you want to kind of base it off of layouts, but still has some cool little features to it. Here's actually a good little showcase of what the layouts look like. But there are some neat ones. And then you can buy extra pieces for this too. So you can just buy one kit and then buy a whole bunch of different pieces, which is pretty nice. I like this already. This feels very retro before you read. I like this little retro feeling book too. Presentation is everything. That is cute. So a little history on the Nixie there. The High Rose orange. And then we have our case. I like this. This is nice. Dude, this is cool looking. What the heck is this? This is the cutest cloth too. What the hell? Wait, Feather, does this come with it? All you see is all you get? Huh? Wait, what is this? Ooh. Seeing this in person is way nicer than on the pictures. Ooh, okay. Look at the machining on the inside. This is a good gray too. This is like, I'm very particular about gray keyboards, and this is a good one. Although it's hard to do gray wrong. So we got some nice stepped internals. Opening this up is really pretty. All right, hold on, let's put this to the side for like 1 second. Okay, I like it. Little extra little blanket. All right, I guess let's take a look at the keyboard first. I feel like there's no good way to show this all off at the same time, so keyboard looks good. So again, this is the 9009 layout, I believe. Look at this side profile too. Look at the graduation over here. Look at this machining. Very nice too. Machining looks great. Anvil looks great on this too at first glance. Love the side profile. Very classy, but this kind of cut on the back is really, really pretty. It is so clean. And then I really like this, by the way. Small call out to this. And again, maybe because my lighting makes this even look better, but see how the weight is recessed inwards a little bit? I really like that. It gives the keyboard some depth, and it kind of makes it look more high-end. Enjoy that. We got our 4 feet on the bottom. Thank goodness there's no long feet on this. We have some exposed screws, which I enjoy. It's a lower seam on this too, which is kind of nice too. I like when keyboards have seams on them. I think they're classy looking. It's not just flat, you got something going on there. Damn, this is pretty. Oh, this is nice to have. This is the plateless breakaway tray, I believe, that you can use to help align. Looks like there's 2 in there, I'm not too sure. Nice, very, very nice. Let's take a look. Oh yeah, there's 2 in there. They're handy to have. I've only ever used this like 1 time ever. You don't always need these, by the way, but they are kind of handy if you decide to go plateless. So the idea behind these is you would align all the switches with this and then break them away and then pull it out. And then we have some plates. They package this well. Be careful as you guys take this out if you guys do decide to take this out. This is the hot swap PCB. So let's actually put this to the side for 1 sec. We'll look at it still, just give me 1 moment. So here is the solder PCB, and I think they're both the same. But yeah, here is the hot swap PCB. As you can see, lots of different things you can do, even ISO, which is nice. Lots of awesome stuff. We have a reset and a boot, which is kind of cool. So the solder has lots of options here. You can even tell over here is crazy amounts. And I think the only thing that we're losing with the hot swap is we don't get ISO and we don't get split left. So if you guys are interested in getting a hot swap but wanted those options, you're out of luck. They don't have those options on this. Which, you know what? This is a pretty damn good PCB. You know one thing this is not a critique to this build. I've always, I get why solder has through-hole diodes for the LEDs. But as someone who doesn't really like doing diodes, like I don't even have a lot of diodes lying around. I've always been curious why more people just don't include the LEDs on the solder builds already pre-installed more often. I feel like you only ever get this on hot swap, which is kind of a bummer. They even got one over here too. This is a very unique layout, by the way. I really like this, considering what we've seen today. Like, this is pretty nice. We got plate screws, weight screws, case screws, PCB screws. I think these are for the risers for the top mount area. Feet I need. Plate pour-on, force brakes, FPC cable, more pour-on. Oh, it came with, look at that. There's diodes in here. I see LEDs. After I just said that about that too. It's crazy. Some wires for one of the stabilizer options. And then what else is this? Accessories. Is this to break away the PCB thing from the plateless thing? Wow, they're thorough. Honestly, I appreciate all this though. Even a sanding, something to sand down. I guess this is to sand down the FR4. Probably on the daughter board over here because you have to disconnect it. However, if you guys are gonna do this outside and put a mask on. Don't just do this in your room. This FR4 PCB is fiberglass. It's not something you want to just be sanding la-di-da. Okay? So don't just sand away at your PCB because this is in the box if you guys happen to pick this up. This is probably the most important note about this entire build is don't do that. So I know this is in here, but don't just sand away. Yes, please, Feather, 110%. I would put a warning somewhere on this, some little disclosure. This is 1000%. You do not want to be doing that. You can break it away easy, it's fine, but to be sanding it, no, I wouldn't do that indoors. Is there like a build guide in here too? Yeah, okay, so this is just some fun stuff. But if you guys want to look at some of the colors of the board, we have one based off MX Browns, which is a brown color. We have the Cherry Nixie, which is, I think this is partly polycarbonate, and then also aluminum on the bottom, so just like a Nixie. We have the orange, which is based off the High Rose Orange, which the orange is beautiful. Probably my favorite color of all of them. The MX Blue, it's blue, I don't like blue. We have the MX Gray one, which I believe is the one we have here. And then we have a MX Red. Well, based off the Cherry MX Red, just a red color. Cool. Would be nice actually too, if I'm being extra picky today. It would be nice if there was a bit of a build guide in here, because that's kind of daunting. All right, though, I guess for layouts now, what is the plate support that we got? I'm assuming it supports just about everything we need it to. Yep, okay. Plate's good for just about everything here, guys. God, I really like this recessed weight. That looks so good on this. So good. The wedge for this has a unique shape. Yeah, it really does. Like, it just looks so good on this. Even just like the corners of this board, like. And again, the machining on this is nice too. It's very pretty. The ano on this is great. Like, a good way to show you guys this is probably just to really zoom in here. Look at this. Isn't that nice? Look at the finish on this. Gorgeous. Super nice. The radius on the corner came out lovely. They did an excellent job on this. No, it's not locked ISO. This is either or, but I chose ISO today out of curiosity. So you can technically build this plateless, by the way. We did not build this plateless today. Okay, so I love the machining on the internals here. This is so pretty. And again, if you guys want a close-up of this too, maybe we'll just leave this to be a close-up one. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? I know they're on the inside, but, and then even the internals look good here too. You know, Feather even said that the screws, he said that the screw holes aren't done very well, like finish-wise, but I don't agree. I think they're done fine. So there's a few things now we can install here. I need these force brake things first. So this is a bit more involved because there's going to be some parts that we really need to kind of focus in on and put them in here. So just bear with me as I go along. I do like the use of pour-on here too for most of the stuff. I do like pour-on as a material. Not quite as reusable, you know. You kind of get locked into one way with pour-on strips, but It is nice. I think so. Yeah, I'm not too sure if you're supposed to cut that in half or not. I'll just kind of place it for now, and if there's some interference, I'll take them off. But they don't really sit too well in the corners, and it looks like it's indicating us to just chop this in half or something. Force brake attached. And now I'm guessing these go here. There's no real user manual for this or build guide, so I'm just gonna do my absolute best here. What else do we got in here that I need to worry about? PCB pour-on. I'm pretty positive we can skip on the PCB pour-on since we're not mounting it via the PCB. This is for plateless only, I think. Explain what I'm looking at right now is on the exploded view, they don't have the top mount aligned with the PCB. They have the PCB mounting offset, so these don't interfere with each other. And I'm wondering if that's a mistake or something. The other PCB is the exact same mounting points, but okay, let's figure out if this works even like this. I didn't even notice that until right now. I was wondering that, yeah. So this doesn't really fit into this. Okay, now I'm a little confused. This doesn't fit into in between this. Am I supposed to cut these off? Yeah, Feather, do you mind getting some clarification on that? So this doesn't actually fit into this. Yeah, if they're on, this is too big. There's also a plate screw, but the plate screw is really short and wouldn't be able to fit into this. You might be right. They might be for plateless. I think you're correct on that. You're probably right. I think that's just to get a top mount plateless variation. So I think I would still need the plate screws. You can just slide it and screw it into PCB. So you see the plate has semi-cut outs for the screw hole. You can just slide it in and screw it in PCB directly. Okay. So I'm guessing all we're doing is that then. All right, cool, simple. I got part overload here. There's too many parts, and I got a little overloaded with information in the parts. And you know what? I was looking at the render a little bit incorrectly too, the exploded view, because I thought the exploded view was referring to those plastic parts as going underneath the plate tabs. It'll be 100% needed to put in the build process. Yeah, I think so too. I think a handbook, Feather. I mean, it's a really cool board, and I think a handbook would also just add to the value of the board a little bit, like can add to the experience. Plus, it seems like there's a few different ways than even I'm building it today, so, and marking the part bags would be greatly appreciated. Yeah, I think even adding on the bags, like some extra information too, would be awesome for that. For the most part, the bags are done pretty well. So, according to Feather, we're just laying that on. So now here's the confusing part. These are labeled as plate screws, but these are way too small. And if I slip these through here, those will not screw in. So it seems, I'm guessing that maybe we have to use these. The longer screws that say PCB and PCB screw. You slide them, don't slide them sideways into the plate. You slide them from the semicircle cutouts. Oh, you slide them in and then you screw through it. Okay, I see what you mean. A little bit of an awkward build process for that. Guess I'll just have to be a little careful doing this so I don't accidentally knock them all out. Okay, I see what you mean. I'm guessing this is the move, is just kind of putting it in first and then slowly sliding them all in as you tilt the board. I'm guessing this is the move here. So in case you guys want to see a different angle, this is all I'm doing. Yeah, I will also say this. I don't think this is the most intuitive way to do it. I think the original way the designer had it on their exploded view, where the plate was offset from the PCB mounts, was the better way to do it. I am not sure why that change was made. Maybe they just like the mounting points of this better. It does mean that your PCB is free floating without being screwed to the top. Maybe gives a bit more flex. But I guess in a normal PCB circumstance, even if you offset them, it would have done that anyways. You know what I mean? Here, I'll show you guys what I'm looking at too, just so you guys can see what I mean. I was looking at this exploded view here. See how I thought, if you guys look at the pour-on gaskets on the PCB, I didn't actually look at the top frame just because I didn't really see it that well, but see how it looks like it might have been offset? I think still, to be honest with you, for the designer, I think just from a ease of use standpoint, obviously realistically this shouldn't affect sound or anything. This is really just installation process. I do think offsetting them and then just carving out a spot for them on the bottom and top and stuff and figuring that out would probably be a lot easier. But again, very minor thing here. I don't think this will ruin someone's experience like I did it pretty quickly. Just as a little note. I don't know if the designer wants that kind of feedback here, but I think build process is very important for keyboards. Very, very important. I do like that the daughter board is on the top frame. I will say that is a nice thing to have. So pretty smart use of the ribbon cable here. I'll give it to them. Actual good use case of ribbon cable. I almost feel like we don't need to put these pads on because we put these pads on. You know what? Let's try it without it for the first try here. And then if we need to put them on, let's go with the pads. I feel like the small circle pads should be good enough for this. And I say that with the most love possible. You know, Feather, I have to admit, I don't know who's the menu on this, but this finish is gorgeous. I do think the build process is more involved on this. But again, it's pretty good value in the box for what you're getting. All right, let's see what this sounds like, guys, shall we? This is a aluminum top mount MX2As lubed with GS2 and then a 53 gram Wuche spring in the Diversity TKL. No foam, no nothing like that. We did use the little circle force brake, but they do come with some extra ones that we did not put in. I mean, this already sounds insanely solid. They nailed it with the sound profile here. At least it's to my liking. I'm surprised at the tonality of this board, considering this is top mount. Usually, my own preference is, I don't usually go for aluminum top mount boards. I am pleasantly surprised with this. This sounds really, really full. Much better. This sounds really full for aluminum top mount. Like, I am extremely, extremely happy with the way this sounds. Also, this looks great too. I'm very pleased with this. And the price point's good too. Some minor things I'd say, like, again, we kind of talked about during the stream if you want to watch all that back, but to summarize some of the more key points, I think the most key thing I could really give this criticism for was, I mean, Feather already said he's going to look into it, not really having a build guide. I do also think that the installation of the screws for the top mount is a little wonky, but I mean, it works. It wasn't like it was super difficult. It just wasn't intuitive. The layouts are fun for this. Really good finishing on this. Very good price point in my humble opinion for what you're getting here. It's a super solid board. Fun layout too. There's a bunch of different layouts you guys can pick from. I kind of showed those off on the box earlier, but I don't know if the front height was listed, but this does feel really comfortable already, and I personally prefer lower front height boards. It does say the EKH, so this is not like the front height of the actual lip over here, but this is measured to the keycap, I believe, is 21.83, which is really good. So the EKH being that height is amazing. Here it is built with the side profile. Don't you go anywhere, you stupid cable. Here it is here. I mean, this looks really good. Oh, here is the back. Again, I love just these really nice graduations of the side over here too. It's nice. I am very, very pleased. I think this layout's really cool. I would, if I was in the market for TKL right this instant, I think this would be a pretty no-brainer purchase. I like the way it sounds a lot. This is very much up my alley. I like the macros on the left side. This should be an instant purchase, I think. Take care, everybody, and see ya soon. Bye, everyone.